Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we are on Love 99.5 FM. We are live in all 16 regions. In the Volta region, we are live on Kekeli Radio in Ho and Menuveve FM in Apawu. In the Eastern region, we are live on KTU Radio in Koforidua. In the Upper West region, we are live on Gangai FM in Jirapa. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrol Sol. Your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplast Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDP pipes and water tank. We are the only water storage tank with a level indicator. Where Duraplus goes, water always flows. This afternoon, make yourself more accountable to the people. That's the charge from the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo to the judiciary as she delivers a vision statement as head of the institution.
There is a need for the judiciary to make itself accountable by increasing transparency in the process and output of our judgments and decisions, through real-time publications of decisions.
We're live at the conference center where the Chief Justice has been defending why she must be speaking. We'll also get to hear from a governance expert who is urging caution.
Important for the court not to be overexposed, because you see, when it becomes so normal, it becomes so exposed, then of course you're going to have more issues coming up.
Also in this package, Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee subjects the activities of players in the energy sector to scrutiny in a quest to stabilize power in the country.
We will do everything in our power to monitor the situation. Ministry of Finance is involved. We will make sure that what they are supposed to do, they do it.
I'll take you live for details of this closed-door meeting by the committee shortly. Plus, we'll tell you the devastating effects the recent power outages is having on the print business in the first episode of our new series dubbed Doomsday Diaries.
When the people bring their jobs here, they want it fast. So you don't have any reason to delay them. But since Monday up to now, we don't have light here. So all the work that they brought, they have to take them back.
Stay for Doomsday Diaries. Also, legal practitioners push for an amendment to the Children's Act specifically to provide clarity on the permissible age for betrothals.
So the way the law is written is problematic, because then it means that there is a certain age that the child can consent to what? Betrothal.
Having regard to the definition of betrothal, I agree that there is a problem with the law.
We have details as Deputy Shraj Commissioner expresses worry about the prevalence of child marriages in other parts of the country.
Now, they will not perform the marriage rites. They will ask the child to go and live with the person. So you see the child living with the person, and then when the child is 18, they will do whatever they are supposed to.
And there's sports.
Dreams FC earned $750,000 after historic qualification for the semis of the CAF Confederation Cup.
I have stopped them immediately. I have stopped them, so they are taking the offers until further notice.
And much later, the Western Regional Branch of the Ghana Rail Transport Union suspends fare increment following a direct order from its national body. That and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu, and this is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please do stay on for details. Many thanks for your company. We're digging now in Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo says the judiciary must make itself more accountable to the Ghanaian public. According to the Chief Justice, the judiciary must put out judgments in real time by deepening digitalization of the court system and processes. The Chief Justice, in a rare public event, is outlining what she says is her vision for the judiciary during the time as head of that arm of government. According to Justice Torkornoo, there is an urgent need for an increase in budget for the judiciary to be able to deliver on its mandate.
To allow for easier networking of all stakeholders. There is a need to increase the budget of the judiciary to allow us room to expand our infrastructure in the automation and digitalization agenda, because undoubtedly the efficiency of court processes and administration is assured with more deliberate use of technology. There is a need to increase our budget to make learning, library, and operational resources available to all judges and staff.
Well, this is indeed a rare event. We know that no Chief Justice has held such a public event to outline their vision for the judiciary. Justice Gertrude Tokono has been defending the rationale behind this move.
And so it will not surprise me if many find this morning's event a bit odd. However, I have taken the step of doing so because, as Albert Einstein is quoted as saying, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Clearly, since justice emanates from the people of Ghana and is only administered by the judiciary by the direction of Article 1251 of the 1992 Constitution, it is meet and right to engage the people for whom the justice sector works, to work with us and help us in solving the difficulties faced in the smooth administration of justice. Nanache, Your Excellency, my lords, excellencies herein present, honorable members of parliament, your majesties, your royal majesties herein present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this strategic framework has been given the title Leading Justice.
Well, let me bring in a member of our legal affairs desk, Kweku Asante, joins us live from that event. Kweku, let's take it down to the very details, the measures specifically being outlined to deepen justice delivery. Huh?
Well, Emefa, we are beginning to learn more about Justice Gertrude Tokono's plan to actually improve justice delivery. First, he talks about the talk about corruption. We know that since Anas's documentary about corruption in the judicial service, a lot of things have been said about judges and the way they dispense justice. Justice Gertrude Tokono says the first way to be able to properly deliver justice is to be able to shake off that tag of corruption.
Judicial administration must close the gaps through which court users are subjected to exploitation and rent-seeking behavior. This demands the removal of as much of the human interfacing that court work is exposed to. Court officials are expected to work with independence, with impartiality, competence, and integrity. Much of these ethical values are lost in the heavy traffic of human interfacing between court officials and court users, including unknown brokers functioning around the courts.
Well, that's Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono there. Kweku, I bet there must be some reactions coming in, but tell us if this vision has already been launched by the Vice President as expected.
Well, not yet. The Chief Justice, as we speak, is still on her feet outlining her vision. It's LEAD, and she says this is how the judiciary of the country is going to go ahead and forge ahead for the new future. One big plank of all of this is digitalization. And as we know, the Vice President has put himself out as the poster boy of digitalization, and he's representing the President here today. After the Chief Justice delivers her remarks on how she wants to transform the judiciary, the expectation, and as has been outlined on the program, that the Vice President will now officially launch and also announce how government is going to partner the judiciary to be able to deliver on this mandate.
That's a member of our legal affairs desk, Kweku Asante. They're monitoring that event for us. Will bring us more subsequently, also available on myjoyonline.com. Meanwhile, this rare move by the Chief Justice to outline her vision publicly has come under some form of scrutiny, and governance expert Professor Bafo Ajimandia is urging caution in this new strategy adopted by the Chief Justice.
You see, our system of governance is so much centralized that a crime in Bolga or Sunyani or Ho anywhere travels all the way to the desk of the Attorney General for his review and approval before prosecution takes place. Not in all cases. I'm talking about a certain category of cases which seem to be quite dominant in our society. That over-centralization must be looked at, because most of the delays come as a result of the inability of the Attorney General's office to quickly review these many cases that come on his desk. And I can't understand why, at least at the regional level, some cases cannot be dealt with by the regional attorneys, if you have any. You see, I think that will help to ease the pressure on these high courts in the country. So as the Chief Justice is beginning to do this, at the same time, it's important for the court not to be overexposed. Because you see, when it becomes so normal and becomes so exposed, then of course, you're going to have more issues coming up. And I don't think the court has to function like the executive, where every now and then there's a press conference, you are responding, you are reacting to public sentiments. No.
That's Professor Bafo Ajimandia. Now, the Ghana Grid Company Limited and the Volta River Authority are under scrutiny by the Parliament's Committee on Mines and Energy. This exercise is conducted periodically to assess and review the performance and plans of sector players in the power value chain to ensure stable power supply in the country. My colleague, Samuel Imbura, is at that particular event for us. And currently, as we speak, the chairman of the committee is interacting with him. We can join in.
And function well. So these are very, very, very strong on the matter. And I'm sure we'll be able to nip it in the bud. Even the issue of meters, if you have prepaid meters and the rest of it, they are involved in the private sector so that any household will have their prepaid meters. And then when you consume, you buy the electricity upfront, then you can consume it.
Chairman, what's the financial situation in the energy sector? Do we have enough money to clear our debts? Is there any processes underway to clear the debt?
Well, whatever it is, I can assure you that because power is critical to the whole economy, money should be found by even the Ministry of Finance. So if there's any shortfall in funds so that we can generate enough power, that should be found. You see, because you can't have it both ways. If you don't want to find the money to generate the power, you won't have power. And you need power to propel the economy. And it's cyclical. You come back to square one. It's a vicious cycle you should avoid. And that is how it's going to be. The only thing which is very critical is that let's aid ECG to plug in the loopholes. So ECG will generate a lot of money, and then it comes to the cash waterfall, and those who have contributed in generating power will be paid. And then it goes on like that. If there is under recovery of revenue, they will not be able to meet the obligations they owe to the power generators and GRICO by extension. So this is how the situation is all like.
So, Honorable, the meeting of the committee ends today, right? After that, what happens?
Well, we will have to come out with a communique, as to the way forward. And then we monitor everybody who is in the value chain, that we achieve what we are all looking for, an end to power outages. We come back to the glorious 7 years of President Akufo-Addo, in which we didn't have these power outages. It shouldn't happen. He's been very, very, very good in trying to generate power for 7 years. We see it as a mess for anybody to try to say that, at the closing chapter of his reign as president, there should be power challenges. But what we're going through is a temporary one. It doesn't measure up to what we experienced 3 years of doom so.
I think earlier you were telling me that there's good news. This issue is not going to persist for long. But what you have heard from them, what is the assurance? What is the situation on the ground now?
The situation on the ground is that we need to generate more power, and everything which is requisite for power to be generated will be generated, and then to be transmitted. ECG will have a lot of power to sell. At the same time, we're whipping ECG to make sure that it doesn't lose 30% of its revenue. And then if we are able to plug the loopholes, it will be good for us.
So, Honorable, we know obviously the challenge is financial. How are you going to hold the finance ministry specifically to make funds immediately available to plug all these loopholes you're talking about?
The president is concerned that we should have the good old days, 7 years of power, and he's going to do everything to ensure that he and his finance minister will raise the requisite monies for us to have power.
How much do we need?
I don't have the numbers, and I don't want to sort of speculate the kind of monies they need. But whatever the monies they need, those who are crying for the money, they know, and I think they know the numbers.
We know that the committee is doing this in the interest of Ghanaians, and that's why you have stepped in. Ghanaians are watching us now. Tell them, per what you have heard from the generators, the distributors, and the suppliers, what should they not worry about?
They shouldn't worry about like a permanent situation of power outages. In fact, I am acutely aware that the president is working seriously hard and will drive everybody to do what is needful, so that in the final analysis, we go to the good old days of President Akufo-Addo, 7 years that we didn't have any mess in terms of power. That is a legacy he wants to leave, and I don't think he will mess it up.
That's the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee speaking in real time to my colleague Samuel Imbura after their meeting today with the Ghana Grid Company Limited, Gridco, and the Volta River Authority. Over the weekend, they got a chance to meet the Electricity Company of Ghana as well as the Energy Ministry. We'll bring you more on this, but in a related development, call it Doomso or Doom CSA, as the Energy Minister Matthew Opoku-Prempeh chooses to call it. There's no denying that the ongoing intermittent power supply is taking a toll on many households and businesses. In the first part of Joy News Doomso Diaries, Kenneth Jesse explores the devastating effect Doomso is having on the printing industry, which has led to some workers in the sector being told to stay at home.
This building houses a cluster of printing shops. On a regular working day, they print everything from receipts, brochures, to calendars. But these days, they print almost nothing. This shop has a minimum of 4 workers. But now, barely 2 employees show up at work. The reason? Intermittent power supply, popularly known as Doomso. With the recent power outages, the shop has been rendered redundant.
When the people bring their jobs here like this, they want it fast. So you don't have any reason to delay them. But since Monday up to now, we don't have light here. So all the work that they brought, they have to take them back. So at the end of the day, you spend money for transport, you come and sit down here, you have to eat. You know, as for stomach, it doesn't know whether you are working or not. So you come, you eat, and you go back home. So it's not helping us at all. Now it's worse, it's worse. The business itself was down, because most of the things are being printed from China now. Okay, so the small stuff that we are getting here, with just Doomso, everything is now zero. So we are down. We are actually sinking.
These workers are calling for a timetable. They say a load shedding timetable will help them plan their work schedule so they are able to meet clients' deadlines and do not lose contracts due to unexpected power outages.
I think that should be the best way, because if I know that today Tuesday I won't be having light here, I won't bother myself to take car from a far place and come and sit down just to come and sit down here. I will have prepared or organized myself better for it. If I know I will be having a work to do, maybe in the night, I will arrange myself to come and do it in the night. So by the morning when the light is off, then I will go and rest. So the timetable is very necessary to be very helpful.
Oh, how about the timetable? You need a timetable to schedule our this thing. If there is timetable, you know that tomorrow there is no light. You can stay home and manage it. Maybe the money you use is to take care. You can manage it, and the next day, you know that the next day the light will come.
The impact of intermittent power outages on these businesses has been dire. Some staff have been told to stay home for the time being. The rest that show up either sleep, read a book, or engage in an activity or two to while away time.
Kenneth Jesse with today's edition of Doomso Diaries, the latest in the series when it comes to issues that we focus on. Taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News, live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We are live on X Spaces. We're on Facebook. We're on myjoyonline.com. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrol Soul, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Soul, always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDP pipes and water tank. We are the only water storage tank with a level indicator, and where Duraplus goes, water flows. We've been focusing on the charge of the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo to the judiciary to make themselves accountable to the people. We return from the break with sports, and the Western Regional Branch of the Ghana Road Transport Union suspends fare increment following a direct order from its national body.
We were called to hold on with the increment, and currently they are having an emergency meeting, which after their meeting they will call the secretariat on what to do.
when budgets are tight and money difficult to come by. You want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Well. How is your good life?
Mine has been great, My entire family and I sleep under an insecticide-treated net every night, throughout the night, and wake up feeling sound every day with absolutely no mosquito bite.
My good life has been terrific. My entire family and I, we wash our hands with soap and running water before we cook and eat, and after using the toilet, we don't play with it.
When my wife was pregnant, I accompanied her to every antenatal session. She took all her medication, ate balanced diet, and gave birth without any complications. My good life has been smooth.
Let's all come aboard Good Life and live healthy and happy. Good Life, live it well. It's an everyday thing. Good Life from Ghana Health Service and partners with support from USAID.
Just like that Sochi Wachi, that's exactly what Apawu Magic gives you. Enjoy rich Ghanaian stories like the second season of the legendary Inspector Bediako, the captivating Madame, and so much more on DSTV channel 150 and GoTV channel 102. Apawu Magic, dear. Enjoyment and kasa. Now available on DSTV Access and GoTV Plus. Apawu Magic, Ghana's most loved storyteller.
And it's time for sports on the Midday News. Mubarak is here. What do we have, Mubarak?
Yes, Emefa. So all smiles are Dreams FC, who made history on Sunday by becoming the first Ghanaian club to reach the CAF Confederation Cup semi-final since 2004. Now the team secured a 1-1 draw against Stade de Malien in Kumasi, ultimately advancing on a 3-2 aggregate victory. Now this achievement guarantees them a hefty payout of $750,000. They will get an additional $250,000 if they beat Egyptian side Zamalek for a place in the finals. Back to you, Emefa.
Thank you very much, Mubarak. Enjoy the rest of the day. Now, legal practitioners are advocating for an amendment to the Children's Act specifically to provide clarity on the permissible age for betrothals. Addressing the issue on yesterday's episode of The Probe on the Joy News channel, they emphasized the need to eliminate ambiguity in the law. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
The argument that the marriage ceremony between the Gbobu Ulomo and the underaged girl was a betrothal was also made by former Attorney General and President of the Gardangbe Council, Ni Ayikwe Otu. The legal practitioner Martin Kpebu says the framing of the law is problematic, calling for an amendment of the Children's Act.
The thing is that, let's be very clear, and in law, once you haven't set that minimum age in that section 14, we need to tread cautiously. Look at 14. It says that a person shall not force a child to be what? Betrothed.
Exactly.
You shall not force. So the way the law is written is problematic, because then it means that there is a certain age that the child can consent to what? Betrothal. All of these gymnastics we are doing, to be very honest with you, the best way out is that we need to amend the Children's Act to state clearly at what age betrothal can happen.
Ranking member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Bernard Ahiafo, says there is a legal problem that must be looked at.
Yes, law is dynamic. Law is an instrument of social engineering. It must be an aid to development. But what then is betrothal? Betrothal is a formal engagement to be married. It is a mutual promise or a contract for a future marriage. So, having regard to the definition of betrothal, I agree that there is a problem with the law.
Minister of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Samuel Asamoah Boateng says some aspect of the Ghanaian culture is archaic and must be discarded.
Some of them are so archaic that we have to get rid of it. Some too, there must be some fine line, because I'm talking to some of the chiefs and they say, well, look, sometimes betrothal sometimes preserve the girl from being abused. So they preserve her. And if everybody knows that she's betrothed, don't go there. And it's for them, it's like disciplined. And some families pride themselves that from our clan, we are able to protect our young girls. So there is some positives and negatives.
Chairman of the Human Resource and Development Committee of the Gadangbe Council, Niyama Adi, says betrothal is not new to the Ghanaian society.
That a record of betrothal is not new to us. If you read Barbot, J. Barbot, in 1732, a betrothal happened, and specifically page 503, a betrothal happened in Accra between a 40-year-old man and a 7 or 8-year-old child, which was done before a priest. And this child did not become a wife of the man who married her.
You want to catch the full episode of The Probe? It will be aired later tonight at 6 p.m. on the Joy News channel, also available on all our social media platforms. Now, Deputy Shraj Commissioner Mercy Labi says the practice of child marriage is still prevalent in other parts of the country. She says in some cases, marriage ceremonies does not take place, but the minors cohabit with those that they are married off to.
It is going on. And now what we realize is that because people have known that when they perform the marriage rites, it will come out, people will see, and they will come and report. Now, they will not perform the marriage rites. They will ask the child to go and live with the person. So you see the child living with the person, and then when the child is 18, they will do whatever they are supposed to do. But from 12 years, you see that the child is living with the person, and in law, we call it cohabitation.
That's Mercy Labi, Deputy Shraj Commissioner. Well, the Statistical Service also has a survey on child marriages in Ghana. My colleague Maxwell Agbagba joins me in studio. What are we learning?
According to the 2021 Population and Housing Census, about 130,800 children between 12 to 17 years were involved in marital unions. This is made up of 61% females, that's 79,700, and 39% males, 51,081. Now, the number of children in marital union, however, reduced compared to the 2010 Population and Housing Census, which recorded about 206,600 children in marital unions. But this was a decrease of about 75,000.
Okay. Thank you very much, Maxwell Agbagba, with those details. Now, the Western Regional Branch of the Ghana Road Transport Union, GPRTU, has immediately suspended the increment in transport fares in the region following an order from its national body. Executives from the branch announced a 30% upward adjustment over the weekend to show the ballooning expenses in fuel and maintenance fees borne by drivers despite an initial directive to wait. We can hear from National Chairman Anani Mako Brisiama.
We are meeting immediately after bed. I'm on my way to Accra. When I come, we are going to meet over it. Because of that, the transporters are meeting this evening. I have stopped them immediately. So we are taking the offers until further notice. So we are meeting on Wednesday. After Wednesday, we shall give them the new prices.
And the region have had to comply with the current directive until further notice. Portia Nanayao, who is PRO for the Western Region, GPRTU.
There was an impending increment of 30%, of which it's intended to kickstart today. But the thing is, since we are working with the National Secretariat, we were called to hold on with the increment. And currently they are having an emergency meeting, which after their meeting, they will call the Secretariat on what to do. But however, we are stating it clear that the increments will come on. Since the day hasn't closed yet, definitely we will increase it. But we are waiting for the National Secretariat after the meeting.
And that's the PRO for the GPRTU in the Western Region. And the moment where Maxwell and Jackie enters the studio, Maxwell has taken money out of his pocket. I thought you were giving it to me. Okay. Well, shake it.
In this economy.
Well, Emefa, we missed you though.
Yeah. I must say thank you to the VRA team for making it possible for me to bounce back.
Okay.
Yeah. What's trending on social media?
Brimo and then Burna Boy, they are trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
Jackie, you want to tell us why they're trending?
Yeah, so Brimo, the Ara hitmaker, says that he would rather go to hell than sign with Burna Boy, Davido, or Wizkid.
Why?
Yes, so
Burna Boy has been responding. He says at this point, they do and say anything just to get at the king. Where they sing Yoruba proverb music for us. When when K1 and Said Super them still they carry S Trabaye. And people have been commenting. This one here says, bro, Brimo is a stellar talent, but he has absolutely nothing on Burna Boy. Lyricism, like with melodies and production, is general. Is very relevant, he says. Brimo makes folks music, which requires his writing to carry more depth than that of a pop star.
Yeah, but what he said other things though. But you know, Emefa, yesterday was exactly 10 years that our colleague, Kojun Jansen, 10 years on air, Joy FM, as a host of the
Super Morning Show.
Host
of
K-Yeezy.
host.
So people have been sharing their thoughts on that. They've just been giving him some congratulatory messages. And this one says that I remember when the doe-eye boy who came to introduce himself to me 10 years ago, 10 years later, your vision has become slightly blurry, but your heart is still the same. And someone says, I was a staunch critic in the early years. I'm glad with the great progress you've made in the last decade. We love you so much.
10 more years.
And I think it's good to wrap up with Brimo's Ara, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so let's have some part of the scene.
7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. ECG will issue Doomsday timetable soon at Tachia. That's and more on myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apawu. Have a good afternoon. Living Word with Pastor Men Saltable is up next.